the weekly show with David J. Maloney. This week, David chats with the band Nico. And now, here's your host, David J. Maloney.
Welcome, everyone, to the weekly show. I'm your host, David J. Maloney. As you know, before the pandemic, we'd shoot the show before a small studio audience at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. And after several months of shooting the show from home, hoping we get back to our live-to-tape shows, we were not renewed for that format. Instead, we've been renewed for a new televised podcast format, which leaves us without a studio audience, but does allow us to have so many more great guests on the show who might otherwise not be able to join us. Of course, you can still watch the show right here on your TV and on YouTube, but now you can also listen to extended interviews with our guests on our very own weekly show podcast. Please go to all of our social media platforms for more information. So on tonight's show, we've got some really special guests. They're the contestants representing Alabama with their song, The Difference, in the first season of the hit show, American Song Contest, which is hosted by Kelly Clarkson and Snoop Dogg. As of the recording of this interview, they've made it to the final round of voting and become fan favorites on the show. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Dani Brillhart and Colton Jones of the band Nico.
I'm misusing my words, making it worse, not my best decision. Won't you say that I'm forgiven?
Sometimes you lose your mind, trying to live your life in a world so strange, where hate will make us blind, so with a bit of love, anything can change.
Our featured guests tonight are the real-life couple representing Alabama in this year's inaugural season of the hit show American Song Contest, where each state has an artist or band representing them as they face off against the contestants from the other 50 states and territories, which is actually very similar to the ever-popular European format, Eurovision. Tonight's guests are the contestants representing Alabama, and with their song, The Difference, have made it to the finals. Here to chat with us about their story, their song, and their experiences on the show are Dani Brillhart and Colton Jones of the band Nico. Dani and Colton, welcome to the show.
Thank you. That was an amazing introduction.
Yeah, I need you to go everywhere with us. That was perfect.
So let's start off at the beginning. Where did each of you guys grow up?
Yeah, so she actually grew up in Georgia, and I lived in Montgomery when I was very young. My mom was the business editor at the Montgomery Advertiser there. And that's where I found my love for music. After that, we kind of moved all over the place. I lived in Ohio, lived in Oregon. And eventually I ended up in Tennessee, which is where she ended up at the same time. We met there on a writing session. We actually started dating first. 2 years later, we'd been dating, singing, being annoying and everything. And then we were like, maybe we should try being a band. And simultaneously, we were singing in like a corporate event, wedding band. Yeah. And we got to play all over the Southeast, a lot in like Tuscaloosa and parts of Alabama, some in Georgia too, right?
Yeah, a little bit of all over just the Southeast generally, but yeah. And
then we've been pursuing our band ever since.
So Colton, I know you've talked about this before, but was music a part of both of your households growing up? And if so, what were you guys listening to in the family home?
Oh, yeah.
We're both like such the Y2K family. It's what we grew up on, like the 90s and the early 2000s, like Rihanna, Usher, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, like those, the top 40 icons were definitely like what we grew up on, family wide. But then we always bond about our love for like R&B music that was, not as popular, especially for like kids growing up. But we both were drawn so much to the songwriting, to the melodies, to the runs and the riffs that these singers were doing, which is why I think it culminated to make our sound today. We're still very much pop, but we love to like lean on melodies from R&B and jazz even and soul and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So does any music memory stick out to you from your formative years? I grew up in Woodstock, New York, the Woodstock, where everybody looks everybody looks like they just walked out of a Grateful Dead concert still to this day. And so I've got several music memories from when I grew up as a kid. Do you have any that stick out to you from your formative years?
Yeah, so many. I remember like all the music that my mom and stuff would play. So and also my grandmother would play music all the time, and she'd play like these old, like really old soul, like Motown-ish songs, or I'm not even sure if it was Motown, but there's this one song called Slow Rollin'. And now that I'm older, I like know what the lyrics mean, but as a child I didn't. And I remember like when we lived in Montgomery, my mom's friend was babysitting me. and I was singing that song. And
Just
later,
bad.
later on, my mom showed up to pick me up, and her friend was like, "Mary, your son's kind of got a good voice." And my mom's friend was like, "Sing for your mama, baby." And I sang it, "Slow rolling, yeah, stroke it with emotion." And I'm just like,
ridiculous.
And my mom was like, "Don't you sing that again?" But she was like, "Oh, I guess I'll put him in choir or something." And I ended up like in our church choir because I think she needed to, clean up my mouth a little
Give
bit.
you something to do.
Something to sing
More
that
age appropriate.
wasn't, an old soul song.
That's funny because my son was very much into he's a drummer and he's a musician himself, and he was very much into Led Zeppelin when he was really, really young, when he was like 5, 6, 7. And most of Zeppelin's songs are about a certain subject matter. And he was going to a Christian school, and he wanted for the talent show to play, like things like the Lemon Song and stuff that it's like, just no, just no.
No, just no. Big
but little
no.
kids don't know.
It's so innocent, but
Yeah.
then any adult is like, what are you doing to your child? You
Yeah,
can't,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when he is singing karaoke at 6 and he's singing "Hey Hey Mama," the way you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I have that on tape somewhere. I really do.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
that's
priceless.
So at what point did each of you individually decide that you'd give music a shot? Is there a moment that sticks out in your head where you go, okay, I'm giving this a shot?
I always tell people I grew up doing gymnastics, and it was the moment where I found myself enjoying more of singing along to the national anthem at the beginning of gymnastics meets more than the meet. And I had a sit down talk with my mom. She was devastated. She wanted me to continue on to like the Olympic track for gymnastics. And I told her my little heart wasn't in it. And I was like pretty young, like early middle school. And I was like, I have to do music. It's my soul is screaming at me. So that was my moment.
Yeah, I think for me, it was always something I did. And because we moved around a lot, it was the only real constant in my life. And so it got to the point where like after high school, I felt like I didn't have any other choice. I was like, well, I can't do anything else.
I have no other skills. So this is it.
So at what point did your paths first cross? It was in Alabama, yes?
Yes. Oh no, I'm so
it's
sorry. So
actually
sorry.
Tennessee.
Nashville. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
In Nashville, yes.
And what clicked first, the music or the relational chemistry between the two of you?
Definitely the
relationship. Yeah.
Because we met to do a writing
Music.
session.
Yes.
And then we just talked.
We just talked for like 6-7 hours straight, and we both left being like, we either are going to work really well together or we like each other. And luckily it ended up being both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who hit on who first? Who approached who for the first date?
So I actually, before we actually did the co-writing session or whatever, 2 years before that, I'd heard her sing, and I messaged her on Facebook.
Facebook Messenger.
And I was like, hey, I want to sing this duet called Endless Love. And it was I wanted to do the Mariah Carey and Luther Vandross version. And I like
The
sent it to
subtle,
her.
simple duet.
And I was like, we should sing this together. And she was like, who are you? She said no.
I kindly said, that's a little intense for me.
Yeah. But then 2 years later, after, we did the co-write or whatever, we just kind of hung out and talked. I was like, I definitely was the one to pursue.
So that begs the question, have you done that duet yet? Have you attempted it?
No.
Never.
Oh my gosh. No one's ever asked us that.
So now you must.
Now we must.
know.
Oh my gosh.
You got to have that full circle moment.
We have
know,
to.
we need to.
We need to, for sure.
So it's been my experience that many couples are either really good at working together or they're terrible at it. What clicked that made you guys think you could make music together professionally and have the dynamic actually work?
Yeah, I think for us, this is like such a small moment, but it was so big for us. So we were playing at the University of Alabama do you remember what sorority it was?
I don't.
We were like I said earlier, we were in front of like a corporate event band, and the band had been hired to do this. And we were playing a big sorority party down there, and we were singing, maybe it was Chainsmoke or something, one of those songs that were big at the time. And everybody was singing along with us, and it was a duet, and we were like singing together, and we were just like, we have to do this for the rest of our lives. Like it just, I don't know, just like having people sing back the lyrics, and it wasn't our song at the time, but we were like, if we could do that like with our music, with our writing, it's because we were both writers and we were both writing together. We were like, we have to do this, and like it just was so fun touring and I don't know, having the shared experience with music in a room full of strangers was just it's magical.
And then to share it together, and our personalities are so opposite, which is why I think it works. Honestly, Like I'm very, very sensitive and I cry mostly every day. And Colton, cries like once a year. So it works out. We balance each other out.
Hey guys, we got to go to a quick commercial break, pay the bills. Can you stick around to the flip side?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whose idea was it to start posting to YouTube in the beginning? I mean, you guys have amassed a wonderful following there.
Oh,
So
thank you.
thank you. Yeah, it was her idea. So she was a YouTube watcher and like watched like all the vlogs and makeups. And,
I'm a big YouTube consumer.
Yeah.
Love YouTube.
and when we first started putting out music, we were like, we really need to build a fan base. And she suggested we start doing YouTube. And so we did. In the first year we did, every single week, we just posted a cover once a week.
We vowed to stick to it. We're like, no matter what, we're going to get a cover up a week. And it was like the first time we had really been able to connect directly with fans or followers in any way. And we honestly got a high from it, like hearing direct feedback from people on our YouTube channel and then giving them what they want the next week. It was like the best feeling.
Yeah.
Well, now you've got mine for next week. So.
Yes, I know.
Right?
Now we can do that.
Yeah, you got to
Yes.
do the one that started it all. So I wonder actually if that would be a good segue into your joining the American Song Contest. How did you guys get connected with the show in the first place?
Yeah, so someone who used to be on our team suggested that we audition for the show. So we just they sent us the link and we're like, oh, this is cool.
And we hadn't even heard of it. And then it was like, truly, we didn't know they were doing open calls. They were just any song that you have, like send in, went through the whole process. It was a long process, which most of the stuff in this industry is. It's a lot of no's, it's a lot of maybes, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. Truthfully, we thought the opportunity was dead a couple times because we would go a couple weeks without hearing anything. So then when we got the call that we were officially going to represent Alabama, we thought it was a spam call at first. Like we didn't believe them. We were like,
What is this
there's
person
no
talking
way.
about? Yeah.
So yeah, that was, yeah.
Had you guys heard of the European version of this contest, Eurovision, before joining the American Song Contest?
Very
A
little.
bit, yeah, but not enough to really understand the gravity of what it was. But once we were, going to be a part of the show and we dove into it, we were like, whoa, this is huge.
It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
So what did you know, or should I say, and what did you not know about the show before you signed on? I mean, did you guys know you were about to have Kelly Clarkson and Snoop Dogg as your hosts? Or was that a surprise?
We found out about the host at the Super Bowl.
Like when the world found out.
Yeah.
We got an email and the producers were like, watch the Super Bowl tonight to make sure you guys see.
Yeah.
And we were with a bunch of friends and we all screamed.
We're
It
like,
was really cool.
And it was the same thing with the other contestants. We had no idea who was going to be representing what. And, when they announced the list, some of our friends were on it and we were so excited. And then some people, like Alan Stone, for instance, who's representing Washington, we've bought tickets to his shows and gone to his shows.
Mega fans of his.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because now we're on set.
I mean, Alan, he's been on live at Daryl's house. I mean, he's really something special.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So, Dani, I heard that Kelly Clarkson was an idol of yours in the music world. What does it mean to you to be on a show hosted by her? And have you been able to have any conversations with her? Or as a host, is there kind of that distance?
No, yes, this is my prize moment in my life. I'll tell my kids and my grandkids this moment. She was truly one of the first people I was a fan of. And again, no pun intended, but an idol of mine from her time on Idol.
American Idol, yeah.
Stayed up every night, Tuesdays, 8, 7 Central. I watched her on Idol. So it was our qualifier episode, right? We sat in the booth, we go a couple minutes before we go live, we settle in with our family. We're all sitting there, we're all sweating, we're all nervous. Everyone's excited. And I look back and Kelly Clarkson is back there and she has a fan holding up to her face because it was so hot in the room. And she kind of leaned back to us. And it was one of those things where we met eye contact and she was like, are y'all hot? And I was like, oh, we are hot. And then she was like, oh, and she got up from her chair and started running towards our booth with both of our whole families are standing there with us. And I felt like my legs go weak a little bit because
we
I
were
was
very confused. I was like, is something happening? Should we run too? Yeah.
We were like, why is Kelly Clarkson running towards us right now? Anyway, sorry, making this such a long story. Runs up to us and is like, I'm so glad I recognized you. I had to tell you, I went down a rabbit hole of your social media, your music. No matter what happens in the competition, just keep going. And it was I wanted so badly to not have this happen, but I lost it. I bawled. I just was it was such the 10-year-old little girl in me just lost it. This was someone I idolized for decades now. And she was telling me that she went down a rabbit hole of our music and it made an impact on her. It was I could have died that day and I would have been fine.
And would that have been a normal like hug moment if not for COVID, or did you still?
We didn't hug her.
We
no.
didn't hug,
Yeah.
but there was like a booth separating
Yeah.
us. So maybe it was less COVID, just more convenience.
Got it. So you said earlier that there were some artists that were on the show that were friends of yours. Are there other artists that you guys have become friends with through the course of the show?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much.
So because we were the third week of the show, the way that they've done it is you come to the show a week before your episode airs.
For rehearsals
and stuff, and then you come back the week after episode airs for results. So because we were right in the middle with episode 3 of 5, we met almost every
week.
contestant.
Yes.
With the exception of some jury picks and a couple people who maybe weren't hanging out around the hotel and stuff. But everybody is so kind and so nice. And, this show is such a great celebration of American culture and like different parts of the US and stuff. And everybody just is like doing their own thing. It didn't feel competitive. And so I think, people like Grant Kanoki from Texas, like he's become a close friend of ours. Like even in between taping of episodes and stuff, we've hung out with him. We knew Brooke Alex of New Jersey already before the show because we had played some shows with her down in Nashville. And we had a lot of mutual friends in Nashville and LA, but we gotten way closer to her.
Yeah.
Riker Lynch, we've gotten close to just during the show and hung out with him and his wife. And yeah, it's just been everybody.
It's been crazy.
So many people.
We shared a van with Alan Stone this morning and just got to like talk about life. And that was like on maybe the second favorite moment of the whole show after Kelly Clarkson, because he is the kindest person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very, very cool. So let's chat about your song submission, The Difference. Walk us through the story and the creation of that song.
It started actually, 2 years ago?
Maybe, yeah.
We wrote the song in our little apartment in LA shortly after we had moved to LA. And we were truly just we needed a therapy session. We were having like a rough week and we just were like, let's just write a song and get all of our emotions out. It started as just a piano ballad. It was one of those songs where it kind of fell out of us. We wrote it with one more co-writer and a producer of ours at the time. And it actually happened pretty quickly. And it was one of those songs where we had almost closed the book on the song just because it was more so a diary entry than it was a song we ever thought would see the light of day.
It was very personal.
Very, very personal. So we, that happens with artists and songwriters all the time. You write a song and then it sits in an inbox somewhere or a hard drive, something. So then when the show was interested in the song, it was kind of like and we had to bring up all these emotions again and relive it and let it have life on a stage, which is something we never imagined for the song. So that was really cool.
And we ended up tweaking the song quite a bit to make it feel less about just us and more universal.
Yes.
Because, sometimes songs are just for you, and then sometimes you can take your emotions and give them to the world.
Yes.
And that's what we tried to do with our
Well, and if it's too specific, it doesn't have as much, it may not have as much appeal. Whereas if it covers more ground, I guess it'll have more general appeal and more people will associate with it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So whose idea was it to kiss at the end of the song on national TV?
That happened in our rehearsal right before, I guess the day before.
We
did it. And it was actually the stage producer or whatever.
Yeah, one of the creative producers we're working with, he walked up and he was like, so how do you guys feel about, like a big ending? And we were like, what? He was like, would you guys want to kiss? And Colton like cracked up.
Yeah. And we were already like, the way we were ending was pretty close.
We were so close.
Yeah.
And Colton was like, oh, I thought you were joking. And then I was like, no, I actually love that because it was such a grounding moment for us after this, like, we can't feel our knees, we can't feel our fingers, we're so nervous, we can't breathe. And then to end the song, like, okay, it's just the two of us. It felt very right for us.
Yeah.
So at the time of this interview, we know you've made it to the final round, but that's it. Given that we don't know what happens from here yet, is there one memory that will be seared into your brain from your time on the show up to this point? Is it the Kelly Clarkson moment, or is there some other moment beyond that?
There's just been so much. I don't know. It's been a short, it's only an 8-week long show. It's really, in the grand scheme of things, it's a short amount of time, but it's felt like a lifetime. There's so many memories, so many relationships, so many moments.
Oh my gosh. I would say actually videos we've received from people on social media reacting to our song or reacting to us moving forward in the competition and seeing them get emotional to the point of tears for us rocked us. Like we've never had people react like that to us. And it feels like we have families all over the country rooting for us, that's been monumental for me.
Yeah, I think the fact that we were able to deliver a song and a message that touched people in the way that we intended to, there's nothing better as a songwriter, as an artist, and we've been trying to do that for years now, and it's so fulfilling to see that come to life.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of bring it full circle, what makes you all want to do music for a living?
That feeling, that touching people that, you know, proximity wise, we're not close to at all, but like reaching people in every state, every country, having them relate to a feeling that we are feeling and maybe helping them through that feeling. That is all we want to do for the rest of our life.
And that's what gets you up out of bed in the morning, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you guys win, what's the first thing you guys will both do?
Woo, I'll probably sit down and have a glass of wine first, but then we would love to tour, to go to the states that voted for us and hug people and tell them thank you. Like, we want to tour more than anything.
Yeah.
Let's talk about socials. Where can our viewers and listeners go to follow you guys on social media?
Yes, we are NI/CO. That's our name. Obviously, we're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Most of our usernames are NI.CO_official. That's where you can find us on most platforms.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, Dani Brillhart and Colton Jones of the band Nico.
Thank you so much.
That's our show for tonight. A special thanks to Dani Brillhart and Colton Jones of the band Nico for joining us. And thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, everyone.
Be the difference in me and you. I'm wide awake, coming out of a daze, finding my ways back into your heaven. Won't you say that I'm forgiven?